Power Pole Pro Todd Kline here. We're ready to dive into the third stop of the One Bass Tour. We're going to Lake Havasu. The Lake Havasu Open coming up May 7th and 9th. Last year, good weights, 19-pound average for Joe Uribe taking the win. Let's dive into the Power Pole Lake Breakdown.
Power Pole.
Alrighty, Lake Havasu, arguably my favorite lake. It's the closest to Southern California. I've got a lot of time out there. It's about 4.5 hours here from where I live in San Clemente. And I absolutely love this lake. Very diverse. You got the smallmouth, you got the largemouth, and it really fits my particular style because it's a lot of finesse out there. Don't get me wrong though, you can power fish the heck out of this place as well, and it's been proven to win in the past. Last year, Uribe winning with 19 pounds a day, doing some flipping. So let's dive into the Power Pole Lake Breakdown. We're going to be coming out of Havasu Riviera Marina here. Great facility. They hosted us last year. We're excited to go back to it. And I'm going to zoom out. As we're going to come out, I'm going to start going up the river. So you're going to come out and go around the island there. And then we're going to run through what I'll call the main bowl and get all the way up. Once you guys are heading into the river, if you haven't run it before, if they have the water drawn down, make sure you follow somebody up there because it can be a little sketchy, especially in the morning on the low light. There's a very specific channel you need to run to get up there. Otherwise, you can run aground pretty easily. And you just want to make sure you get up there safely. So take your time. Make sure if you haven't really practiced up there before, you follow someone up there for the first time. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go all the way up and start at the 40, the freeway there, right under the bridge. It's a pretty solid run, pretty safe run, but there are some areas that sand's always moving on the river. So again, be careful, guys, as you're running up there. Your mapping does its best that it can, but that bottom does change quite often due to the currents changing and moving the sand around. So this is the furthest I usually will go and practice. You got Topak Marina on the right side after you come under the bridge. And then the furthest really I will go is up just a little bit further here on the left side. And that is going to be Pirates Cove Marina. Again, there's some riprap in there. There's some docks, some toolies in the back, and very similar to what you get over at the Topak Marina. These are great areas to catch fish. A lot of ways to catch them. And now I'm going to jump back. We're going to head down river. As we start to make our way down the river, I'm going to kind of summarize the majority of the river until we get down to Blankenship Bend is just straight. A lot of current, a lot of toolies. There is some timber in the area, some wood sticking out of the toolies. A lot of times where you can find those little bends, little cuts, little pockets. Those are areas where largemouth will pull up into and use them as ambush points, as well as smallmouth. You will catch both up the river. A lot of guys tend to flip them and also throw moving baits, spinner baits, chatter baits, that type of thing. I'm going to go ahead and take us all the way down here to the Blankenship Bend, and it's just above the bowl here, the main bowl. And you'll notice once we get to here that a lot of backwater starts to come into play. This backwater has been key in the years past, no matter what time of year we're there, and I expect it to play a role again this year. These backwaters, they warm up earlier, the spawn usually takes place sooner, and you'll have fry garters probably already in there. As I mentioned, the fish are in all three phases right now, pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn. So these areas probably will be pretty key. You're going to see a lot of them here on Google Earth. There's only certain ones that you guys can get into. Unless you're running the aluminum boats, it's a lot easier to get back there. It's skinny water. If you haven't run it before, I highly recommend trimming up your big motor, using your trolling motor to try to get back there, and or a push pole, because it might look easy. Next thing you know, you're tearing up your equipment. So be careful, guys, running into these backwaters. But they definitely can pay dividends. They have in the past and very well likely will in this event. So I'm going to make our way back now, just leaving the river here on your California side, which is the left side, and the right side is Arizona. On the left side, that last cove is called Catfish. That's another place that has been productive in the past. And right when you start to get back into the main bowl, both sides looking at it from as high as we are here on Google Earth, very similar. You got a lot of cuts. These cuts will have toolies in them, flats, a lot of man-made structure. That man-made structure is key in Lake Havasu. Shout out to the Department of Fish and Game over there. They did a great job. Wish Southern California would employ some of this, but you guys, if you haven't been there before, you're going to be blown away. It's literally townhome townhomes everywhere that were built for fish strategically, and they took residence pretty quickly. You will donate a lot of gear, but it's similar to ocean fishing. It's like a giant reef, and you bang that cage with whatever bait you're throwing, and next thing you know is it pops off and deflects and comes up and over. 5-pound largie comes out. You have him, and he turns his head and gets you home real quick, and they'll break you because you got the quagga muscle out there. So that'll play a large role, is that man-made structure. Also, in this area, especially the bowl here, you got a lot of trees from years past that are still, on the bottom of the river channel. You'll see some of that in the back of a couple of these pockets. Some of these pockets are referred to as washes. Those washes are super fertile. That they're called wash for, the obvious. When they get the monsoons out there, they get the rains, they actually wash through. So they bring a lot of nutrients into that area. You get a lot of bait fish, you get a lot of grass, you get a lot of bass. So look for those washes as well. Let's go ahead. There's a lot to cover, but a lot of those things that I've just identified there for you, it's going to hold true once you get back into the bowl, all the way down to Bill Williams in the south, which I'll take you to here in a minute. Looking on both sides, there's going to be cuts all the way down. Some of them deeper, some of them shallower, depending on what pattern you find. Start to run that based upon what you find. If you want the shallower ones, stick to those. Otherwise, stick to those deeper ones. Some of these bluff walls might not give you a lot of bites, but you'll catch some big smallies that like to get in those shadows. And we'll talk about some of the baits that we'll approach that with here shortly. So let's head south. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so I can keep you guys centered here. And once you get down probably to, you're going to pass the Havasu Palms and then Black Meadow down on the California side, about there south. For many years, a lot of guys didn't want to fish it. It's super clear. You get a lot of big smallmouth down there, but they're also smart. That water's clear. So a lot of times down there, in order to entice or to get those big fish to commit, you got to go lighter on the line. But my theory's always been you got to get bit before you can get broke off. But you will see much clearer water now once you get in there. The bowl that we referenced earlier, it will have ebbs and flows as far as clear to a little bit of off color sometimes, and a lot of times in those washes you'll get off color. Even though you haven't had rains out there in a long time, it's still just the way it's fertile there and the way things move, it can be off color in those washes, which can be conducive to good chatterbait fishing, spinnerbait fishing, and that type of thing. So continuing to head south, a lot of the main river channel here, outside of even those pockets, there's some good high spots. Again, some man-made structure. Some of this stuff will be on your mapping. Some of this stuff you're going to have to find on your own. But there is some really good stuff along this, what I'll refer to as the south end of Lake Havasu. Again, a lot of times it can be harder to get bit down there. You might not see the numbers that you'll see up there in the bowl. All the release fish are always going to the bowl, so population's pretty strong up there. But in the south, it can hold for 3 days. So we're going to go all the way down. You're going to see the right-hand kind of turn that will take you to Parker. There's a dam there. You can't get up against that, but just to give you a reference of where we're at now. And you've got the Havasu Springs Resort, which is another facility down here with some docks and different pockets that you can get into and fish. Again, you're going to see the man-made structure even in some of these marinas. They strategically placed them there knowing that bass like to go into these marinas. I'm going to take you guys over here to the Bill Williams. When you get to the Bill Williams, again, this is going to be an area where you're going to see that water start to, dinge up or get a little bit of color to it. It goes from, pretty deep out in the middle of the river all the way down to it becomes very, shallow for the most part. A lot of times you even got to trim up to go through there just to get in. But you might find 5 or 6 feet once you get back into there, depending on what they're doing with the water out there. This entire area, once again, fertile. You'll see a lot of bait. Bill Williams area as a whole, you're going to see a lot of striper fishermen, and the reason they're always down there is because that area does hold a ton of shad. So you guys know when there's shad, there's bass, and that's the case down here at the Bill Williams. You can go into the Bill Williams. You'll go underneath the bridge there, and on both sides, tons of toolies. Again, you can catch them on your bait of choice, but generally this is an area you'll want to flip, throw a frog, chatterbait, that type of thing, and it definitely will play a role. So that's kind of Lake Havasu in a nutshell. Key structure, once again, you're going to have points rock piles, humps, I mentioned the trees. Grass is going to start growing now, and the big key is probably that man-made structure. So try and find that stuff. Keep in mind once you get out there, what you're seeing. Is there more fish in the pre-spawn, the spawn, or the post-spawn? That's obviously going to change a little bit based on the areas you're at. And then best of luck to you guys. Look forward to seeing you guys on the water May 7th through the 9th. Get signed up, and we'll see you on the water.